working together. For all of the ways they differ, though there are a lot of useful opportunities for two modes to work together. Hyper-focusing allows us to remember more, which leads to more valuable connections made in scatter-focus mode. How good we feel. Curiously, the more we invest in our happiness, the more productive we become in hyper-focus mode, and the more creative we become in scatter-focus mode. Why exactly does investing in happiness foster productivity and creativity? First, and most important, a positive mode expands the size of your attentional space, regardless of which mode you are in. When you're happy, the amount of dopamine, the logical part of your brain, rises, which leads you to approach your work with more energy and vigor. And because you have more attentional space to work with, we have resources you need to focus more deeply and accomplish more. Being in a good mood also makes you better at recalling information on the fly. You also consume information more actively. The happier you are, the more likely you are to put ideas together in new and encouraging ways, and the better you are able to overcome functional fixedness. According to one study, habits that train our brain to win less, such as mindfulness and meditation, more likely to experience insightful solutions to problems when you are in a positive frame of mind. 5. Listening to music. 2. Playing. 3. Talking and investing in the relationships. And 2. Exercising. 1. Making love. What is this one for? Okay, how then? We can invest in our happiness using finding of science. One of my favorite studies, the same one that discovered that we spend 47% of our time daydreaming, sampled thousands of participants throughout the day, asking 2 questions. What were the subjects doing at the instant they are sampled? Participants received a notification on their phones. And how happy did it feel doing that thing? At the time of the study's publication, the researchers have received more than 50,000 responses from thousands of subjects. Here are the top 5 activities that made them the happiest. 5. Listening to music. 4. Playing. 3. Talking and investing in the relationships. And 2. Exercising. 1. Making love. I suppose to notice that our minds wander the least when we are making love. And that we are significantly happier doing so than we are doing anything else. Nothing else comes close. To really invest in your attention, try doing all 5 things at once. As well as the activities, there are a number of other habits that have been proven to make people happier. One of my favorite researchers in the happiness field is aforementioned Sean Anker, the author of Happiness Advantage. In the book and in his TED Talk, Sean offers a few science-backed strategies to bolster your happiness. A few of his top suggestions: recalling 3 things you are grateful for at the end of each day, a good companion tactic to a rule of 3, discussed in chapter 3, journaling at the end of each day about one good experience you had, meditations, chapter 5, performing a random act of kindness. Recalling 3 things you are grateful for at the end of the day. Journaling at the end of each day about one good experience you have. Meditating. Performing a random act of kindness. Happiness is a rose colored lens we place atop our attentional space. Mm. While moods and attitudes aren't necessarily thoughts and ideas you can focus on and remember, they do greatly influence in how you perceive and relate to what's in your attentional space, and they affect the size of your attentional space itself. Happiness is the one colored lens that we place atop our attentional space, which allows us to relate to our experiences in more productive and creative fashion. If you need a boost, pick a few items from each of these lists to try. Reflect on the difference they make for you. Try all 9 ideas and then keep what works. At the end of the day, these strategies won't only make you happier, they'll also make you more productive and creative. Work around your energy levels. As you probably experienced, energy levels over the course of the day are anything but constant. They fluctuate according to when your body is programmed to have more energy. For example, if you happen to be an early bird or a night owl, how often you exercise, what you eat, and whether you get enough sleep. Like energy levels, your focus and productivity aren't consistent either. You're the most productive when you dedicate your energy-rich moments to your most complex, meaningful tasks. If you've read my previous book, The Productive Project, you're already familiar with this idea. Hyperfocus is more effective during your peak energy time. Okay. And the precise time of the day differ for everyone. 맞아요. Precise times of the day differ for everyone. By charting your energy levels for a week or two, you will be able to identify your own patterns. The more productive tasks you do during the BPT, the more productive you become. There is a flip side to this concept. When it comes to scatter focus is most powerful when you have the least energy. Analytic problems require focused attention to solve, but solutions to creative problems come when you connect the greatest number of ideas. For most people, this occurs during the late morning around 11 a.m. and the mid-afternoon around 2 or 3 p.m. Our energy is typically lowest right after lunch. Okay. That's right. Okay. I should read this one carefully. Okay. There is a flip side to this concept when it comes to scatter focus. Scatter focus is most powerful when you have the least energy. Your brain is less inhibited during these periods, and that doesn't hold back the ideas it generates. Analytic problems require focused attention to solve, but solutions to creative problems come when you connect the greatest number of ideas. One study discovered we solved 27.3% more inside problems during our non-optimal time of the day when we are naturally more tired. I call this time periods when we have the least energy or creative time, prime time. There is no shortage of research examining when you naturally have the most energy. For most people, this occurs during the late morning around 11 a.m. and at mid-afternoon around 2 or 3 p.m. Our energy is typically lowest right after lunch. Energy levels can also fluctuate throughout this week. We are typically the least engaged with our work on Mondays when experiencing the most boredom and are the most engaged on Friday. Everyone is different, of course. If you're an early bird who springs out of the bed at 5 a.m., your prime time might fall earlier in the day. And in the afternoon, So it might be the best time for the creative work. Similarly, night owls may find they are most productive when others have long since gone to bed. A great way to work in smaller schedule tasks that require focused attention during your BPT and the tasks that require more creative during your CPT. Block time for these tasks in your calendar. Drink alcohol and caffeine strategically. As far as decreasing inhibitions is concerned, you're probably familiar with the effects of alcohol. Much like being tired, drinking has been shown to make people better at solving creative problems. To test this theory, I rewrote some of these chapters while sipping vodka sodas without time to waste. I'll let it be the judge of the whether it's any better than the others. A favorite study I encountered in writing this book was one that I had participants get mildly intoxicated while watching the Disney or Pixar movie. Oh, La Ratatouille. Ratatouille? Ratatouille? Okay. The researchers split participants into two groups. One group was fed a bagel, as well as multiple vodka cranberry drinks, both in quantities relative to how much each participant needed. The subjects consumed the drinks while watching the film. The second, significantly less lucky, group also watched the movie but didn't consume any food or drinks in the process. The study's findings were remarkable. After watching the movie, tipsy participants solved 38% more creative word puzzles than the sober participants. Not only that, they solved the problems more quickly. As you might have guessed, the drink participants weren't better at solving logical problems. Again, when it comes to solving creative problems, the less control we have over our attention, the better. This is not intended to advocate the use of alcohol, which is, of course, not without its downsides. The Ratatouille study measured performance on tasks that required pure creativity. But most tasks require a mix of creativity and focus. When it comes to time to focus on something, alcohol will actually obligate your productivity. If you're into meditation, experiment with having a drink or two before your next evening session. You will experience this effect firsthand. Consuming alcohol makes you mind-wander more often while at the same time decreasing your meta-awareness. Alcohol affects two aspects of the quality of your attention, but not only will you focus on a shorter period of time, but also it will take you longer to realize that your mind has wandered. Being under influence also diminishes the size of your attention space and it makes it difficult to focus on pretty much anything. The more you drink, the more your mind wanders, the less awareness you have to hold it, and the smaller your attention space becomes. But it's no wonder we remember less when we've had a few drinks. It's impossible to remember while we don't pay attention to it at first place. In practice, alcohol is worth consuming only for a very select task. If it's the end of the day and you want to brainstorm, sipping a whoopie pop will help. But keep in mind that it helps precisely because it decreases in how much control you have over your attention. If you drink alcohol as a way by which we borrow energy and happiness from the following day, sometimes this price is worth the pain, such as when you are hanging out with friends you haven't seen in a long time, but often it simply isn't. If you drink alcohol, do so strategically, and those rare times when you want to let your mind roam more freely and have nothing important planned afterward, or you want to steal some happiness from tomorrow. Caffeine is another drug to consider consuming strategically. When it comes to managing attention, caffeine has the polar opposite effect of alcohol. While alcohol helps us get a focus, caffeine helps in hyperfocus. The research is conclusive. Caffeine boosts in mental and physical performance in pretty much every measurable way. It depends our focus regardless of whether a task is simple or complex and narrate, which makes a hyper-focus on a task easier, but get a focus more difficult. It helps us in persevere, especially with tasks that are long and tedious. It boosts in our determination regardless of how tired or fatigued we are. It improves in our performance in a test that require verbal memory, a quick reaction time, and basic partial reasoning. For example, putting together in a jigsaw puzzle. Okay. As we're more productive in advice implementing individual tactics with awareness of how well they actually work for you is key. Caffeine can also boost your performance in physical work and exercise. It helps you perform in hot conditions, boosting strength, the training performance, and increases in tolerance for pain during exercise. Because of this cause, choose caffeine when you are actually benefit from a mental or physical performance boost. Provided it's not too late in the day, consume a bit of caffeine the next time you're about to hyper-focus on a task or hit the gym for a big workout. Instead of having a cup of coffee after you awake, wait until you get to work so you will benefit from the boost when you work on your most productive task. If you have a brainstorming meeting first thing in the morning, consume caffeine after the session, keeping the walls of your attention space low to let more ideas flow. If you have a pitch meeting, on the other hand, do the opposite. Open offices. Open offices? Creating a focus ritual. By now, we've covered how to integrate both hyperfocus and scatterfocus into your life and make a habit out of entering each mode daily. Enter hyperfocus mode at least once a day to deal with your most productive tasks, eliminate distractions, and concentrate on one important thing. Enter scatterfocus multiple times a day, particularly habitual scatterfocus mode, so that you can plan for the future, connect ideas, and recharge your ability to hyperfocus. Do the same at home and hyper-focusing on meaningful experiences and conversations and scatterfocusing when you need to plan, rest, and ideas. Some weeks, we may find that you need more one than the other. One of my favorite weekly routines is in a focus ritual, which I schedule for every Sunday evening or Monday morning to plan my week. During it, I decide on my 3 weekly intentions and access how much I will need to hyperfocus and scatterfocus in the days ahead. I'll be lying if I said I spent a lot of time planning how long I dedicate to each mode. No one should do that, but I do consider briefly whether my week will benefit from the one mode more than the other. When doing the same for your own schedule, ask yourself questions like this. How much productivity and creativity will need this week? Does an upcoming deadline mean I need to hyper-focus on more than usual? Or do I have more space to plan for the future and connect ideas? What communities or what commitments do I have coming up that will get in the way of my hyper-focus and scatter-focus time? For example, travel and a training conference, or inordinate number of meetings. How can I deal with these obstacles in advance? How many blocks of time can I commit to hyper-focus and scatter-focus? Can I commit to these in periods in my calendar? Noticing. This final chapter had explored a variety of ideas that will enable you to take even greater advantage of your attention by investing in your happiness, working around your energy levels, drinking alcohol and caffeine strategically, considering your office environment, and taking into account both hyper-focus and scatter-focus as you plan your week. You will be able to take deliberate management of your attention to the next level. It's not important not to lose sight of one final concept that's paramount to managing attention well: awareness. As you become more aware of what's occupying your attention space, how much energy you have, and how full your attention space is, you will become more agile and adjust as the conditions change. For example, if you teach an impasse with a problem, awareness will give you an ability to determine whether the problem is more analytical or requires any creative insight to solve. You can then enter hyper-focus and scatter-focus accordingly. One of the best strategies to train your brain to become more aware is an hourly awareness and theme I discussed in chapter 3. When the theme things, reflect on what's occupying your attention space, as well as the state of your attention. Odds are you haven't experimented with every idea in the book, but if you haven't already, do try this one. In addition to an hourly awareness team, try picking a few cues you encounter each day at work, at home, to use and reminders to check your attention space. Awareness in a thread that wins its way through most of the tactics in this book. When you're aware of what has taken hold of your attention, you are able to direct it back toward more important and meaningful things. You will then work with a greater purpose, focus for longer, and daydream less, all of which will increase the quality of your attention and the quality of your life. Awareness is really just in a process of noticing things, and there isn't a lot to notice. I hope you've discussed some of the curious ways that your attention works. Maybe you've noticed the quality of your attention, how much of your time you spend intentionally, the duration of your focus, and how long your mind wanders before you catch it doing so. Maybe you've noticed just how often you automatically pay attention to anything that's novel, pleasurable, and threatening. Maybe you've noticed how quickly objects of your attention pass through your attention space. Above all, I hope you become more productive, creative, and purpose-driven. The part of managing your attention well. The benefits of effectively managing your attention are innumerable. For starters, you feel more control as you turn off autopilot mode and manage your attention deliberately. You begin to understand its limits and become better able to work with them. Learning when you can and can't multitask, your life becomes more meaningful because you pay greater attention to meaningful experience and process them more deeply. In this way, meaning isn't something we try to find, it's something we make an effort to notice. You get more done because you're actually able to focus on important matters. You're able to think more clearly and become more engaged with your work. You plan for the future and set intentions more frequently. You feel better, rested and less guilty about taking a step back. And you connect to more ideas in a while, amassing constellation of them in your mind as the topics that drive your curiosity further. This inspires you to become more creative, lets you work smarter and more intuitively, and it makes you more productive on creative projects. Hyperfocus can help you get an extraordinary amount done in a relatively short period of time. Scatter focus lets you connect ideas, which helps you unearth hidden insights to become more creative and plan for the future and the rest. Together they will enable you to work and live with a purpose. Your attention is the most powerful tool at your disposal to live and to work with greater productivity, creativity, and purpose. Managing it well will enable you to spend more time and energy on your most possible tasks and to work in more often with attention, focus for longer periods, and stumble into fewer unwanted daydreams. I hope you spend it wisely. Okay.